So I'm going to cook something up today. It is going to be beef BirriaTacos, right? Now I'm going to be straight up and tell you this is not an original. There's a guy in the US did it. I think he's in San Diego. This is my sort of European take on it. Because you know the way in the US they say oregano, for example. Whereas we say oregano. Or in Ireland they say oregano. So let's start and see how we go. So here's the beef I'm going to use. In French this is called Basses Cotes, something like that. And it cost 17 euros. It's 1.154 kilos. And you can see on this chart where that cut of beef comes from on the cow. Now, of course, it's all in French. And, you know, in France, they cut the meat differently to Ireland and I'm sure to the US. So it can be very confusing. So it was good for me to see this chart down in the shop. And now I know where the different cuts of meat come from on the cow and the corresponding prices. Okay, so I've cut up the beef into manageable chunks, as you can see. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil just around it. Okay, just not too much. Like so. Rub that in a bit. Like so. Then turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. Now after I've done this, then we need to sear the beef in a hot pan, which is a common practice. You've got to do it to give it flavor. Okay, now we just put a bit of salt and pepper on here. I'm using French fleur de sel de Gruyere. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but you get the message. Now we're ready to sear this. We do it in two goes. Let's do this first. So here are the chilies I'm using. These are guajillo chillis and these are pasilla chillis. And I bought these in a Mexican food store in Geneva, next door to my house in France, in Switzerland. So we've got to get all the seeds out of these, cut them, get the seeds out and chop the ends off them here, the stems, and then we can proceed. There, I've removed all the seeds. Here are the chilies. Let me dump these seeds and we'll continue. Get all the chilies into the Nutribullet. There we go. Now we're going to add some things to that. So I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth in here. 2 cups is equal to just under 500 milliliters. So we put that in there. And then we leave it for about 15 minutes to soak up the chilies, and then we'll come back and do more stuff to it. Okay, let's put the beef in here. I'm going to do it in 2 lots. Okay, so that's starting to look good there, look. Very nice little colour. I mean, when I cook beef at all, any time I cook beef like this, I mean, I always sear it. You have to sear it to get that flavour. Maybe another minute. You can sear the end. Gordon Ramsay does, when he does duck breast, he sears it like that. Let's take these out. This little machine here I bought when I was living in Panama when I worked for the UN about 10 years ago. And watch this, look. See that? It's closed. You turn upside down and it opens. How's that? Turn upside down and it closes. How cool is that? That came from the US of A. And the other thing I have here, this is my favourite wooden spoon. And this came from San Gimignano in Italy, in Tuscany. I've had this for about 10 years and it's still going strong. Okay, I'm going to crush some garlic. Simple as that. Look at that. Beautiful. A little bit more olive oil in here. There we go. Now we add the onions. One onion chopped up. Seven cloves of garlic. You can never get enough garlic. So now we're going to add 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. 3. Okay, let's finish the bottle. Stir that around, and that will soak up all that good stuff that's in the bottom of the pan. I'm going to be cooking this in a slow cooker, so I think that's okay. Just add that into the slow cooker. There we go. Now we'll add our beef. There we are. With all its juices. Stir that up a bit. And that's ready. Now we will continue with the sauce in the NutriBullet. There you go. Now we will add some bits to this, starting with what they call in French Oregano, what we call in English Oregano, and what my friends in the US call oregano. So we'll add about a tablespoon. I mean, you know, something like that. How's that? That looks good. Next thing is cumin. This one, cumin moulu in French. And we want about a teaspoon of that. So I just put on my hand first, because nice, that'll do. Not too much, but at the same time. There. And then the next thing is some coriander. French coriander. English coriander. And we want a lump of that in there. Let's put a bit more. There. Now we want 2 tablespoons of, am I pronouncing this correctly? Chipotles. I bought this down in the store in Geneva in Switzerland, Mexican store. They've got all this good stuff. And I haven't opened it yet. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm just going to take, I don't quite know how much of this to use, but I'm going to use maybe Let's see. There's a lump of it there. Maybe a little bit more. There. Whoa. Okay. I probably used too much. However. We want some salt and pepper. A bit of pepper. A bit of my salt. There we go. And lastly, last but not least, a tin of tomatoes. Okay, chopped tomatoes. There we go. And now we're going to zap this in the NutriBullet. Okay, NutriBullet's ready to rock and roll. Let's switch it on. There we go. So this is what we got when we blended it up in the NutriBullet. I have to say, it looks delish. And now we're going to add it in here on top of the beef. Look at that. Let's stir that around a bit. So we have enough liquid here, covers the beef nicely. And the next step is to put this into the slow cooker on high heat. The slow cooker is in fact in my music room, surrounded by guitars, keyboards, PC, all sorts of good, nice things there on the walls. Anyway, what we're going to do is have a look down here. And there we are. I've already put it in here. So let's close it down, switch it on. I want it in high mode, that's correct. And let's put it on for 4.5 hours. Start. And we'll come back and check on it in a couple of hours. This has been cooking for, oh God, certainly 4.5 hours. You can't see it now, it's very dark. It looks delish. I'm going to bring it inside and we'll put it into a different dish. Okay, well you can't see it very well there because it's dark. But what I'm doing is I'm taking the pieces of meat from the cooking dish over to this dish here. Now you can see it here, look. Now look at that, it just falls apart, look. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm going to transfer all of it from that, the cooking dish over to this one and put everything in, and we put this up on the table, and then people can dunk in here with the tacos and cook it up on the, what they call here, they call it a plancha, electric machine that you'll see. Okay, so you can see what I've done here is I've got the meat here, the beef, and I put a bit of sauce in with it, but the bulk of the sauce I put in here. So we put both of these up on the table, and then you can dip your taco in here to get the sauce and razzle it up, and then we'll add the beef and the other stuff which I have ready over here on the table. I've got this is the stalk of the white onion, but I mean it's very nice. There's the white onion. This is a mixture of two different types of cheddar. One is quite strong, one isn't as strong. We don't get Monterey cheese here, whatever the Americans have. I remember I used to have it in Panama all the time. Here is what I'm using as to cook it on. This is an electric sort of a combo plancha thing. So this surface here should be fine. This one's got ridges on it, so it's not so good. But you know, the only problem is that I can see is that, you know, it's October here, and we're indoors, and we're going to get maybe the smell of tacos in here for a week. But let's see how we go. Okay, these are the tacos that we're going to have. These are flour tacos, handmade, from the Mexican shop in Geneva, down in Switzerland next door here. And here's the wine I'm going to have, which is Lomo Alto, and it is a 2018 Tempranillo from Spain. And I know this is a really nice wine because we've had it loads of times.
Amazing.
Well,
Cool.
see that, that's what I want to get there. Okay.
That's me.
Right, like I say, I haven't done this before, Katie. Look at this sauce on it.
You just said that.
What?
You just said that.
Okay. I wouldn't imagine too long. Yeah. Flip it over. Yeah, not too long. And now we put a piece on. So. That. And cheese. So. Yeah, and then we fold it over. So. Dribble it. You want a bit of sauce? Let's dribble. I'm going to turn over now anyway. And then he used one of these as well, I think. Okay, so here we're done. We're finished. There's the sauce. There's the old plancha there. Worked very well. You just don't want to scrape the Teflon on it. And there's the cheese that we put in, a mixture of 2 cheddars and the onions and the green stuff. And here's the meat itself. Loads of it left. And I also added, the last minute, I added this stuff, which, okay, it's El Paso. Sorry, sacrilege. But jalapenos, they're really nice. I put about 3 of those into each one, and they just give it a little kick there. So there you go, we're all done. Very successful. That was my recipe for beef tacos. I hope you liked it. I guarantee you there will not be many leftovers. Katie has already had some for lunch. Don't forget, by the way, when you cook them, to open them up and add some white onion and some green cilantro. Give them a bit of taste. So until the next time, cheerio.